Now in this spreadsheet, we're going to solve the same problem, but we're going to use what's called a VLOOKUP. A VLOOKUP is the idea of looking vertically in a list, just like here in this list, where you could look for the number 30. Well, you would find it's not here, you would find it's not here, not here, you would find it's right here. After you identify the value, you're able to go over to other columns and grab values. So that's the idea of a VLOOKUP. So I'm going to do just a little demo down here, and I'm just going to say, in fact, I think I'll just make a little VLOOKUP demo so that you have a resource here. And I'm just going to show an example. Here I'm going to have just a list of parts. Okay, so I'm going to say a part number, and I'm going to say, well, this is part number 10, this is part number 11, part number 12, something like that. And then I'm going to say brand, and I'm going to say this one is Browning, that this one is a Gates belt, and this one is a Bando. And then I'm going to say maybe something else, that its size or its price. Maybe we'll do size. It's an A34, and they're all going to be A34s. And I'm going to do a price column. I'm going to say that, this is $8, that this is, $8.25, and this is $7.45. And I'll just tweak that up and tweak this up just for fun. So this is really an inventory chart. Now I want you to imagine being on another sheet, and I'm going to just have a person put in what is the part number. So they're going to put in this cell here what the part number is. So they're going to put in like number 10. And I'm going to just fill this part number. In fact, I'm just going to borrow these headings right here. Paste those, put those in. But I'm going to make this one yellow, meaning they should input it. And they're going to put in part 11. And up in these fields will come the information from the table. So I'm simply going to say equal VLOOKUP, and at that it says the lookup value. Well, the lookup value that I want to look up is right here, this number 11, which happens to be in cell B4. Then it says, well, where is the table? So the values are here. I'm going to tell it this table. Then it says column index. This is column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4. So since I'm in the brand column, I'm going to just use column 2. Let's see if I get that right. And we're not going to use a range lookup. Enter. There it goes. So if I put 10 here, I get Browning. If I put 12 here. So what's happening is it's looking up in this array for the number 10, 11, and 12. It finds it in the first column. It then says I'm supposed to go to not the first column, the second column. Okay? So now I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for here. I'm going to say equal VLOOKUP. A little bit too fast of typing. I hit enter and it doesn't know what that is. And I'm going to say the lookup value is still here. Hit the comma. See, now that says where's my table array. Don't include the words, just the data there. Then I'm going to hit comma again. Then the column index is column 1, column 2, column 1, 2, 3. So we go there, 3. We now close and look at that. It says A34. I'm going to make these just a little bit different so that we can see, there's just a little bit difference. So if I put the number 10 in, I get an A34. If I put the number 11 in, I get the A34 asterisk. Just showing you how the VLOOKUP works. So now, let's go to the gradebook. I want to have grades, and I'm going to make a chart of the score. And I'm going to just type, what is their score? So we might say 100, 99, 98. And then I might say grade. That, hey, this is A, this is A, this is A minus, whatever it might be. Now let's take a look at solving this. Equal VLOOKUP. This time I'm going to hit that button and we're going to learn a little bit more because there's a couple things to know about VLOOKUPs. Okay? You can only search the first column of the range of cells. So this table here, these employee numbers, you can only search by these numbers. Okay? Then, once you do it, you can use the number to either return the number itself, which makes no sense, or the next column, what department are they in, or the next column, what is their name. Okay? And there's the basic syntax. But a little hidden fact that can sometimes be a problem is understanding that all the values have to be ascending. Okay? It must always be ascending. So, and if the first, values is false, it'll only find an exact match. But we're not going to look right on that. But I'm going to point out a big mistake I made here. Is if you look at this table, it's from low to high. So I need to go 0 up. Let me get back here. Okay, I'm going to fix this up. I need to go 0, 1, so forth. Okay. Now I could do that all the way through, but I could do this, that, hey, that's an F. And I could do that this 60 is an F. And then I can do 70 is a D. And, 60 is a D. 70 is a C. Then over here, 80 is a B. 90 is an A. And we'll just see what that looks like. So that's my table. We'll kind of shrink it in there and pull this up closer. Get rid of those rows so you can see it. So let's take a look at this. This is equal to VLOOKUP, and declare the lookup value. I want to look up percent. Then I'm going to go comma, table array. That's my table right there. Then I don't want to return column 1. I want to return column 2. So I'll put 2 there. Close that parenthesis. That's it. Hey, search for the value stored in E2, which is 100, somewhere between this green box, and return this value. You hit enter. That gives me an F. Well, to make matters worse, I'll just fill this down, and now it's not even working. So we'll ignore that, and we'll go back to what is this one doing. Why is it giving me this F? Well, what it's doing is saying, I went through the table and I never found this value, and the closest value I found was this. Why it's saying that is I said look up E2. What is E2? Well, if I get rid of this fancy formatting and I just tell Excel to show it to me as it truly is, right? That's the number 1. It's not 100%, it's the number is 1. That's 100%. And it sees that that is, well, it's not a D, so it must be less than that. So I got two choices. I can change this to 0.6 and put these all in percent, or I can change it here. I could say E2 divide by 100 and see how that works. So I'm going to look up that, or excuse me, not divide by 100, times by 100. And voila, I've got my solution. So E2, 1%, or I'll put that back. Percentage, 100% is an A. Now I'm going to fill down. Remember, we go fill and down. And what I like to do is not work too hard, so I'm going to change this. And see, that's funny. That seems to be working. And when I went to 30, that seemed to work. 20 and 10. Something's wrong here. Now I've got this green mark, and that says a value is not available. So let's look at this equation. E2 is my reference, then A10 to B15. Look at this, A11 through there. Look at what's happening to my table. It's shifting because I don't have the same table. What I should have done is make these absolute. So I need to do that $A, $10. Okay? If you're wondering how I did that, I can type it really fast. But what I did was hit function 4 and it just did it. So I did that to the top one. Now I'm going to fill down. And now we see it's working. Okay? So then if I give this guy 71 points, it goes to a C, and so forth. The other thing I could do something like this. I don't know that I really need the 100. So I'm going to just do this. I'm going to say, well, if you get 90, you get an A. But if you get above 95, well, I guess my fingers want 96, A plus, right? And now look what I've done. I'm going to call that, we'll just go back to an A, and that'll be, you get above 95. Now watch what happens. If this score would change to 94, they get an A. If they change it to 95, they get an A plus. So I can put in half grades. I don't have to do 100 entries here, but I can put them in as need. If I'm going to make this longer, I'm going to need to change the array that shows up what my grades are. Okay, so that's the VLOOKUP. So what you need to do is you need to create the Gradebook. You need to create a VLOOKUP Gradebook. And when you're done with that, you need to drop it in the Dropbox. So these two under one file. Notice my clever name. I expect you to follow suit and place such a clever name. So that's the VLOOKUP. Great for making decisions and great for doing like parts demos or a parts list and be able to search through it. Okay, so that's the end of the VLOOKUP.